Hi guys. So this video is to help you with the Pendulum Lab. Hopefully you'll have your own resources so you can do it yourself. But for any reason you don't have the materials, I am also going to do the Pendulum Lab, but it'll be your responsibility to still collect the data on your own. Okay? So the first things you're going to need is you're going to need some kind of setup. I'm using a ring stand. But you could use a doorknob or a hook, something you can tie a string around and allow it to dangle, so like this. If you don't have anything fancy, just get a pencil or a pen, tape it like to a table, right? And let it hang off the table. So pretend the binder is a table. And then see, it can work just like that. Okay? So any of that's fine. You also will need some string. You're gonna need, at the minimum, 5 washers, a ruler, and then a stopwatch. I'm gonna use my phone, but your Chromebook has stopwatches, phones, anything like that. Okay? All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna start with 1 washer. And so our pendulum, we're gonna make a pendulum with just 1 washer. So all you're gonna do is tie 1 washer to the end of the string. And you're gonna wanna make sure your string is 5 inches long. You don't really want it much longer just because you don't wanna waste string, but you can't do it much smaller because you need up to 3 inches between the base where it's tied to the top of the washer. So this right here needs to be 3 inches. Okay? So I'm gonna tie it on. And then I'm gonna get my ruler out and make sure again, from here to here is 3 inches. Oop, and I have a little less, so I'm just gonna slide it down a little. No big deal. Now a little more, awesome. Okay, there's 3 inches. Took a while, but we're there. Okay, then you're gonna get your stopwatch ready. Again, I'm just gonna use my phone. And what you're doing is you're gonna measure how long this goes back and forth until it stops, okay? So to start off, we're gonna all start at 180. So it should be even with where you're hanging it from. And so I'm gonna count down, and when I get to 1, we're gonna start, okay? So 3, 2, 1. And you should be timing it, okay? And you're gonna time this, not me. So I'm not gonna give you the time. But as soon as you see this stop, you're gonna stop your stopwatch. So I can try to help. All right, and it's about done. So I would definitely stop if you haven't already. Okay. Now you're gonna write down that time in your data table. And again, this is for 1 washer. Okay. We're gonna do it once more. So I'm gonna do each one twice. But then I'm gonna encourage that you reach out to your peers and you get some of their times, because at a minimum you should have at least 3 different times. Okay. So we're gonna do it once more, and I'm wondering if I turn this, if it'll be easier to see it stop. We'll see if that's the case. So again, you're gonna start your stopwatch, or you're gonna reset, and you're gonna get ready to start it. And at 1, I will drop. So 3, 2, 1, and time. All right, practically stopped. So I'm gonna stop my time, yours. And so again, that was for 1 washer. And now the whole purpose of this lab is to test how mass affects the time that it swings. So then what we want to do, of course, is we want to add mass. And so the easiest way to do that is just to add more washers. So this time we're going to add 3 washers. Okay. So 3 washers now. I just tied them together. Tie them pretty tight so they're right next to each other. Okay, and so now this is 3 times the mass. And again, one controlled variable that we want to make sure we keep the same is that it's 3 inches, again, from where it hangs to the top of the washer. So this needs to be 3 inches. So I'm going to tie it on. I'm going to get my ruler. Ooh, this looks a little long. Dang. Okay, so scoot up. Again, it's really important that we keep it the same because length of string will impact it. And so we need to make sure that's controlled because we only are changing one variable in an experiment, and that is the mass. All right, one sec. Trying to get 3. Okay, finally got 3. All right, same thing, but just this time, we have a pendulum with 3. So again, you're going to hold it at 180 degrees, right? Even with where it's hanging. And then you're going to press start as soon as you let it go. Okay. And then you're going to make sure you press stop when the pendulum is done moving back and forth. All right, so 3, 2, 1. again, as soon as it stops, you're going to stop your time. Tell. I think it looks. Oh. Oh, it's still moving a little. All right, I think it's pretty much stopped. And so we're going to do it once more. If you stopped yours a little bit sooner, that's okay. Right, there is definitely some human error in this, just based on, when it looks stopped or not to us. But in general, hopefully we'll notice a pattern. And so we're going to do it once more. Again, this is with 3 washers. And this one doesn't count, but you're going to start the time as soon as it's dropped. So starting in 3, 2, 1. It's still moving. So again, whenever you think it stops, you'll stop your time, and then you'll record that data. I think it looks, in the video, it at least looks stopped. Okay, so hopefully you've stopped it now. And then again, write that in your data table. So you should have 2 pieces of data for the first washer, 2 for the 3 washers, and then the last one we're going to do is 5 washers. Now, again, I want us to share data, just because the more data we have, hopefully the more accurate it'll be. And so our last one now is 5 washers. That one has 4. Oh, I have a lot of different washers. Okay, here's 5. All right, so again, I just got 5 washers, and I tied them to the end of my string. I double knot it and make it tight, especially 5, because these are heavier, and so if you only do 1 knot, it'll slip. It's possible it'll slip through. Okay, and then again, to keep a controlled variable, we want to make sure that it is 3 inches long. No longer and no shorter. Oops, that's centimeters. Oh man, that's almost 4 inches long. So again, to the top of the washer, so the top where it's tied needs to be 3 inches. And hopefully you're better at this than I am. This takes forever. Okay, there we go. 3 inches. Move that off to the side. This is 5 washers. And then another controlled variable that we didn't talk about really, but that's really important, is that when I'm holding it, right, I want to always hold it at the same angle. So that's why we're keeping that 180. And then I also want to drop it with the same amount of force. I don't want to give it a push, right? I'm actually just letting gravity take over. So I'm literally just dropping it. Okay. All right. So get your stopwatch ready. This is for 5 washers. And I will start in 3, 2, 1. And again, you want to stop your stopwatch as soon as you don't see it moving anymore. And for all of us, that might be a little different, but it looks like it's still moving. Barely, but moving. Hard to see, at least from my angle. So again, if you think it's stopped, you may stop your stopwatch. Oops. Oh, it's kind of still moving. Just barely though. All right, we're gonna say that definitely has come to a stop by now. And so that was trial 1, and we're gonna do it at least a second trial and just a second trial. And then again, I want you to compare your times with those who did the lab as well, okay? So reset. Last time, again, we're gonna stick at 180. It's about right here. Just gonna drop it so it has the same force, and we're starting in 3, 2, 1. crazy. When near the end, it just like almost seems like it never stops. So again, as soon as you do think it's has stopped, you may click stop. It does look like to me it's still moving, just slightly though. It's hard from this perspective. We'll probably stop at 3 minutes because it's about there. If you have already stopped it, that's okay too. With experiments, right, there's always some human error. And one of them for sure in this experiment is, like that when does it like officially consider stop? Because really it's almost like infinite, right? Even when it's nearly stopped, it just barely like vibrates. Or even just a small like breeze tends to move it. So anyway, that was the second trial for 5 washers. Okay, so hopefully you have at least 6 pieces of data, 2 for each mass. And so now your goal and your job is to find the average for each one. Again, I encourage you to get I encourage you to get at least one more piece of data so you can have at least 3. And then find the average of each. And then you have a couple conclusion questions I want you to answer. Thinking about the mass and its relationship with kinetic energy. And again, remembering kinetic energy is the energy of motion. So anytime something's moving, it has kinetic energy. So again, thinking about how does mass affect kinetic energy? That's the goal of this lab. Okay. All right. Thanks for sticking around. If you have questions about your Pendulum Lab, make sure you ask me. Okay. All right. Bye.